Welcome back, family. This is going to be directed, well, everyone can use it, but this is something that was requested from a young lady that I know growing up in the United States. And we had a conversation, and it was a long conversation, in depth, the kind that I love. I hate, or really dislike, I hate to say the word hate, but that's what it is, foolish stuff. In which I'm also a comedian, so I can say foolish things, but the bottom line is I love the deep, probing, introspective conversations that many people are not even capable of having. Not that I'm saying that I'm the only one who can have it, but you need a dance partner. And if a person doesn't have too much sense in their head, then it's kind of hard to have those kind of conversations. So when I do have that opportunity to do so, whether it's male or female, right? I relish the opportunity because I'm a deep thinker and I love to go deep, as many of you know. So she asked me, she said, Lance, and she's in her late 40s. I don't know her age. I never asked. I know her for a long time through an old job, but I think she's around 51, maybe 49, right around in there, you know. She looks well for her age, well kept, very youthful, and not too many scars. Because you know when you get to a certain age, all ages are not the same. We're all given youth, and we could spend it out wisely, or we can waste it when we're young. That being said, she said, Lance, you know me, I'm a mother, I'm a daughter, I'm a sister, I'm a friend, I'm a caretaker. I'm a single parent. I have been through numerous relationships which were not one-night stands, but I had a period where in my early years I explored. I said, okay, you don't have to tell me anymore. I understand. She said, but for the most part, I have been in stable, long-term relationships, and it hasn't been many of them. I've had opportunities to deal with people who had lots of money, but they weren't stable. They wanted to play, and I know they wouldn't have been faithful. I've been around good men who weren't ambitious, but it seemed like they wanted to use me. She went down the whole list. I said, okay. She says, what advice would you give to someone like me who is moving into another phase of life? I said, that's a general question. Like, what do you mean? She's like, well, you know, I'm single. I was married one time, didn't have any children in that union. And the next union, which was a serious thing that I thought was going into marriage, we had a child and then another one before he decided that that wasn't for him, which is sad. What would you tell someone like me who holds so many positions? I'm a daughter, I'm a mother, I'm a sister. I'm the one in my whole entire family growing up, that family, I'm the one they call when something goes down. I still have both my parents. One of them is ailing. The other one is doing good. But the ailing one is not really life-threatening, but it's just a continuous health issue that they have. And they call me all the time. My sisters and brothers always make sure to call me because I'm the one to jump in my car and go and look after them, even though they all live closer and in the same state. I said, I understand. What would you tell someone like me moving into the future? I said, okay, that's a general question, so I'm going to give you a general answer. I thought it would be something more specific. So I told her, I said, from what you're telling me, you are pulled in many directions. Righteously. Because you have a good heart and you want to do for your family. You want to do for your mother. You want to do for your father. You want to do for your sisters and brothers and be there for them. And of course, you want to do for your children. I find that many of our sisters oftentimes have multiple roles, right? And in having those multiple roles, they are more than capable of accomplishing what they have to accomplish. But oftentimes in these situations, guess who gets neglected? They get neglected. Not to sound harsh, but many of them get lost in their roles. I'm not saying not to fulfill the needs of those roles, but all I'm saying is never neglect yourself and never lose yourself. Because I find a lot of our sisters, no matter what the age range, have begun to forge an identity only as that particular role that they play. And it's not playing, I'm just saying it as a figure of speech. It's a very serious thing. When they're a daughter who has an ailing parent, they get into it. Now, we're not saying all women are righteous and going to do, because we have some who run away from their responsibilities. Because I know if your parents or parent or whoever raised you and did a good job and sacrificed for you, you're supposed to be there for them. They will say, oh, no, live your life. No. We wouldn't need Social Security in America if we had the community family dynamic, right? Social Security is an artificial way of propping up an older person, but money can't buy everything. Money can't buy the connectedness. Money can't buy the love. Money can't buy that exchange of energy from mother to daughter, mother to son, father to daughter, father to son. There's no replacement for that. So without that, what did we do before as a culture, as a community? We took care of our elders. And they had a different role. They gave us wisdom. The wisdom that came from many years from being on this earth. It doesn't mean that everybody who has gray hair is wise. We have a lot of gray-haired fools out here now who don't know their age or their positioning now because of the age. But many of our sisters lose themselves. They forget what they wanted to do in life. They forget what they like when they go to the restaurant. They forget the pastimes and the hobbies and things that they shunned and pushed aside for the higher cause of taking care of a child, a sister or a brother, a mother or a father, or just indulging deeply in a career that sustains an entire family. She might be the breadwinner for many people in her inner circle. She's also a friend. She also has to listen to what her friends are going through, and she gives advice. All I'm saying is that to answer the question that was asked from my friend, I see many sisters get to a certain age, chronological age. It could be 40, it could be 60, it could be 65, but it hits them. I don't know myself. They don't say this, but you can tell that that is their dilemma. This is not a put down, this is a reality. I'm saying this out of love. They say, I don't know myself. Who am I? If I'm not a mother, who am I? If I'm not a daughter, who am I? If I'm not the go-getter and the breadwinner, who am I? I've been in this role for so long, or in multiple roles for so long, that I've forsaken myself and I've forsaken my individuality to the point where I don't even know who I am. Now, even as a wife, which I forgot to say, if you're married or in a committed relationship, the husband unfortunately passes away or he leaves. This is just a different example, right? Let's say there's no children involved in that marriage. Let's say that you have close friends, but you pretty much lived your life with your mate, who you thought was your soulmate. Whether you believe in soulmates or not, I'm just saying that to say how close it was, that union. They're gone. Do you remember the song by the Fifth Dimension? I think it was the late 60s, 69, 70. One less bell to answer, one less egg to fry. I'm not making fun, but it was about just that. The man became her world, and she didn't know how to cope on her own. I'm not saying anything to rope you in for the fellas and, no, I'm saying always maintain your sense of individuality. Always stay in touch with who you are. And most of all, you have to always be your best friend. That sounds so far-fetched. Many, in their fulfilling the roles and needs of those around them righteously, will even reject the thought that they lost themselves. Well, I go every Thursday night to my favorite sushi restaurant and I eat, but you're not enjoying yourself. What do you have going on that no matter how many roles you have and how many roads you've had to navigate, what is the constant thread throughout your whole life that you never broke? I'm not saying if you had aspirations for being a world-class athlete and you got pregnant, then I can understand that. But what is the hobby? What is the thing that you pursue that doesn't cost much money? I'm not saying it's a money-spending thing, but something that you do that brings you peace of mind, that takes you away from the world around you and allows you to go into your own innerverse. Don't lose that. Because if you lose that, and you also lose the role that you fulfill, whether it's 1 or 5 or 10, you'll be lost. You'll have no purpose then, because your purpose is removed. Your purpose that you've succumbed to is gone. And that will happen. That will happen. But have the one thing that's always going to be there. Like me, okay, I like doing these videos. Maybe one day I won't do them anymore. Maybe one day the internet will shut down. I also like to write. I also like to draw. And there's so many things in decorating and in designing homes and things that many people don't even know that I like to do. That make me me. That allows me to, how could I say it? Have a date with myself. Have the time with myself. Now, the way I do it, I'll flip open the laptop and go on YouTube, and I have several playlists of songs I like to play, or I'll play another person's playlist and hear the similar songs from back in the 60s, back in the 70s, back in the 80s. Maybe there's some songs there that I know that I didn't think to put on my playlist. Oh, I like that song. It reminds me of my friend. He's gone now, but it reminds me of him. And I get in my own world, even if it's for an hour. And sometimes because of your schedule, you can't do what you want to do for 3 or 4 days, or sometimes 2 weeks if somebody's in the hospital and critical. I understand that. But always have something of your own that nobody can take away. And some people in your life will try to take it away, not because they are not there anymore, and that role is gone to fulfill, but some people will see that you have a sense of connectedness to yourself and despise it because they haven't found themselves. So again, always have that thing that you love to do, that you want to pursue, even if you're doing something that you know, but there's something else that catches your eye. Like I said on the other video, and I didn't do it yet because I've been so busy, I want to get that app. And there's several. And if you know of several or one that's the best, let me know in the comment section, right? The app that you, on your phone, that you put the camera up to and it grabs a shot of the leaf and will tell you everything about that plant. I got plants all over me. I walk through this garden, this yard, especially in the back. It's a forest back there of all types of exotic fruits and vegetables and bugs trying to get up in your nose. That happens, right? But now that's a wonderment for me. Like, wow, it's so much to explore. Now I want to get these tags, something of not just paper because the rain comes and inks wash away, but something I can put in plastic, right? And put a little tag around it, and put the name to know what it is. So that when I go there, I can go back on the app and it will tell me everything I need to know about that plant. They're little tiny plants that are growing up because the yard is not cultivated yet. We have to concrete the front and make it nice and do things, landscaping in the back. But while I'm doing that, I want to know what this plant is, because every single plant, and if you call it a weed, it still has a purpose. Every plant has a purpose, just like every person has a purpose. And I want to know what the purpose is. Is it for fruit? Is it for vegetables? Is it medicinal? Is it something full of iron that keeps you strong? Every plant, no matter how ugly you may say it is and it doesn't fit in your garden, it has a purpose. And so you've got to understand that with the roles that you fulfill, as those roles kind of change, say you have daughters and sons, and you may not have an ailing parent. They may be okay on their own in good health. Your sisters and brothers are in good health. They're good. Sometimes they don't talk to you. I don't know. We have dysfunctions. That's a whole different subject. But then your daughters and your sons, maybe not all of them, maybe some of them, maybe none of them, but they get older now. And they're living a life where they cook their own dinner. They have their own likes. They love you now. They're still connected to you, but your role now changes from that of a mother, which you'll always be by title, right? That never stops. Because, something happens and you're like, it could be a 35-year-old son or daughter. You're like, oh, that's my baby, because that's your baby. And you are their mommy, right? But the role changes from the full mother who takes care of that child. Now the child is a teenager, a young adult, grown adult. And now your role is different. And now you have the positioning of being an advisor. You let them live their life. You can see them doing some things sometime that may bring them a little pain, but just like a little baby who crawls and grabs the coffee table and says, well, they don't say it. They're thinking this. I'm going to walk just like my parents, or the people that come through the house that are friendly with my parents. I want to walk now. The child doesn't know the risk. And he grabs the coffee table and pulls himself up on unsteady legs. And here you are with your family. Look. They're trying to walk. And they take 2 steps and boom, you don't see them no more. You can't sit there every single time to hold them. They have to know the consequences of gravity, that it will pull you down if you don't have your feet under you. And just like that parent, that father, that mother, that grandmother, grandfather, whoever, aunt, cousin, whatever, who's there when that happens, you have to let it happen. But if you see that there's something on the ground or some sharp object or the side of a coffee table that they're going to, you have to make sure, hey, let's redirect them. And that's your role as a parent when you have older children now who are grown. Now, if you see something of a disaster coming and you have to step in, you're like, listen, I'm your mother. I'm not going to let this happen. Only if you have a pure heart. Because oftentimes some mothers will see a fiance to the son or to a daughter and not like them for some reason and want to interfere. If your child comes to you and asks you advice on what your first impression is, as long as you don't have any toxic insecurities and idiosyncrasies from the past that, any envies or whatever, you give them your good advice. But to give them your good advice, guess what? You have to have good credit with that child. What do you mean? Well, good credit in the banking world, in the financial world, means that you pay your bills on time, that you're credit worthy. Oh, you pay your bills on time, we will increase the limit of your credit card. We'll give you that $500,000 loan because all these last 20 years, you started out with a little, you built up, and you have a record for being credit worthy. Well, what does that mean with the relationship between a mother and a child? Well, if you told that child when they were a toddler, as much as they can understand something that they found out to be the truth, they say, okay, mommy told me the truth. And when that toddler gets to be one who can walk and is curious with things around the house, and you say, don't put your finger in that socket, or don't stick that key in that socket, and they go ahead and do it, they say, Mommy told me not to do that. Mommy was right. They get to be a teenager. They want to go outside and play. They're playing a little rough. And usually that's for guys, right? And sometimes girls, tomboys, sometimes do that. You say, listen, don't play on the concrete like that. Go over by the grass, go by the dirt, because if you fall, you're going to scrape your knees up. And they don't listen to you. And they come in crying. Now, you love them. In the back of your mind, it's like, I told you, you're angry. You don't want to see them injured. But they learn now, over time, that every time my mother tells me something, it's always the truth. So now they're an adult. They've been dating someone. They've been courting someone. And between courting and engagement, your daughter or your son comes to you and says, I love the way you get along with the person I intend to spend the rest of my life with, but I really, really need to get your opinion. Please tell me. Don't tell me afterward if you're harboring something. You know why they come to you like that? Because you have credit in their psyche and in their heart, because they know after all of these years of building up trust that you're not going to tell them anything wrong. But you have to know that you are in a role of an advisor, and you can't be caught up in their business. Even if you see something, you might want to give your daughter or your son a little look. I'm not going to mess around, but I'm seeing something. But if we don't have something of our own that we do, that we're into, right? We're going to lose ourselves, and we will try to find ourselves by maintaining the roles that have been long gone in our lives. Or not long gone, but they have morphed. They've evolved into something else. And many of us don't see that. Look at me. I've said it before. And I always mention my age on the videos because it's a way of me documenting my journey. And it's 61 years old. In a year, or less than a year, away from collecting Social Security, which is a real sweet thing I'm looking forward to, right? Who doesn't want to get money every month on top of their pension? But I have to remember, I'm not 50. I'm not 40. I'm not 30. I'm not 20. So when the next old man is looking at me like he wants to fight, and I know that I live very, very, very clean, and I have a lot of experience in different things from many years ago, but it doesn't mean I can do what I used to do now. I'm not going to lie to myself and say, if he got a problem, let him step over here. I'm going to show him something. I'm going to show him something. I'm going to show him this right here. And then now you have two old fools locked up in jail for some, let's make up a word, testosteronized foolishness of two men who didn't realize where their blip is on the radar screen, right? So we got to know ourselves. But again, going back to the sisters, we have to know who we are. We can't lose that. You fall in love with a man, sisters, you cannot lose yourself by giving all of yourself. You will give full support, just as he is supposed to give full support to you. But there's no medal that you're going to receive, no plaque that you're going to receive, no accolades that you're going to receive for giving everything. Because if he steps back and leaves your life, what do you have? I'm not talking money. That's a whole different topic. I'm talking your heart. Because you know how many women who have lost themselves and they don't have anything in the present after their roles have either evolved or certain roles were snatched from them. Now they don't know themselves and they're looking for something to do, and some will date this man and go to bed with that man, and they're grabbing at straws now to try to recapture something that they neglected. It's not about the man or a man. It's about your connectedness to yourself. Never lose that. And this is why you have so many, and I'm not throwing off on anybody, I'm just saying this in general. We have a lot of bitter older sisters out here who, because of their bitterness, that they lost themselves. They gave it all to a man, or even one relationship after the other, which leapfrogging is no good. Rebounding is no good. But when they get to a certain age and realize how fast this time goes, it's a thing where they realize it's a rude awakening and they can never get that time back. So what do? Always stay true to yourself. But also to the younger sisters, which when I step into a room now, most of the sisters are younger. It's refreshing when I see somebody who's 80 years old or 70 years old and they say, young man. I was like, phew, I ain't that old yet, right? But just to pass this advice on. We have social media, we have Instagram, we have Facebook, we have YouTube, we have TikTok, we have LinkedIn, we have this and that. Look, I'm on so many social media platforms, I forgot. I'm on a Chinese one. What's the name of it? No, not TikTok. It's the Chinese version of Twitter, aka X. I was playing around, didn't know what. I just know how to sign up for these things, and I put some artwork up, and I saw all this Chinese stuff written, and I couldn't damn translate it. I have fun like that in my idle time, which I don't have much of an idle time. But take time. Everything that glitters doesn't necessarily mean that it's gold. Take time with someone. Even if it doesn't end up going anywhere, take time. But to make a good choice in any situation, you're going to have to know yourself. And if you don't know yourself, you don't know your limitations, your boundaries, you'll go all out just to get, thinking you're going to get reciprocated. It doesn't always work that way. We have a lot of fraudulent men out here. It shouldn't just be about the man. Because when you take care of yourself and you maintain yourself on a mental, spiritual, and physical level, emotional level, and all in between, because all of those different categories meld and blend in different ways, in an infinite manner, you will attract someone over time, at the right time. Just because all your girlfriends at 22 years old have these dashing, handsome young men, doesn't mean it's going to last. You may have to wait till 40 or 50, and it doesn't mean wait. Do something with yourself so that when you do begin to share your life with someone, you have a treasure chest. You have amassed so much and accumulated so much. You are so interesting and precious to that man as he should be for you. Invest in yourself. Never lose yourself. The flies love me. That's why I'm flinching and jumping. But never lose touch with yourself, because you're the only person that's going to be with you your entire life. You were with you when you were born. You're with you all through your life. You're going to be with you at the time of transition. Every second, every minute, every hour, every day, every week, every month, every year, and every decade, you are going to be with you. So it's you who has to show love to you in an unconditional manner, and always work on yourself. Never lose touch. That man one day who finds you will understand that he has a treasure. Much love to you all. LANCESCURV out. Always hit LANCESCURV.com to check out all the latest stuff and all the other things that I do. And this time I hope that someone got a word, and it was also always spoken out of love. Much love to you all. LANCESCURV out. Mwah.
Once you get a taste of the world of LANCESCURV, trust me, you'll be back for more. LANCESCURV.com. Bold, raw, and uncut.